A big storm is rapidly developing. Two new tropical threats taking. Welcome to the weather forecast on VTB TN8 channel. Dear friends, in this forecast, the fall severe weather season is underway. We will be looking at the daily severe weather potential across parts of the United States throughout this week. And we will highlight the areas most at risk for damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes. A returning storm system could bring a large blast of cold air to the central and eastern United States sometime in early to mid-October. We have a slight risk of severe weather in Oklahoma, parts of Texas, Kansas, and even Nebraska, Iowa, and Missouri. And then a marginal secondary risk of severe weather from Huntsville, Alabama, all the way down to Cleveland, up to Buffalo, and even Toronto in Canada. We're going to be looking at tropical weather, including some new developments in the Atlantic that we have to mention, which can be tracked in the United States. The east coast of the United States, the southeast coast of the United States, including Florida, the Bahamas. A very important update for us as we are tracking two strong tropical waves that are developing. The immediate threat is flooding in the Northeast Caribbean. If you like this video, please share it with your friends, family, and on social media. Comment in the comments below the video. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe to the channel to follow. Thank you. We have a low here, moving into the Texas Panhandle today. This low will move eastward near the Ohio River by Wednesday afternoon. So keep in mind that a lot of the areas we're watching are from Iowa into eastern Nebraska and northwest Missouri. And then another area through Kansas into northern Oklahoma. And from Ohio into Kentucky, parts of western West Virginia. Those are high-risk areas for severe weather in the air, where there could be damaging winds and hail along with a few tornadoes. But a little further south, we're talking southeast Oklahoma, northeast Texas into Arkansas. Also, Little Rock including Ardmore down there toward the Dallas-Fort Worth area and Texarkana. Areas near Nashville, for example, Memphis, Tupelo down there back to the Abilene area in Texas. Individual storm coverage areas. And as we head into Wednesday, a large area is being affected by isolated severe weather from the Ohio River near Louisville and Cincinnati all the way down to Nashville, Jackson, into the Huntsville area. And even the Baton Rouge area in Louisiana, Houston, Corpus Christi, along the Texas coast. Again, an area up into Iowa and eastern Nebraska. Another area that's more intense here into Kansas and northern parts of Oklahoma. And then more scattered types from Ohio into West Virginia and eastern Kentucky. The threat of winds that are gusting over 60 miles per hour. Some coin-sized hail, but also a few tornadoes. We're going to see some pretty heavy rain along and south of the Ohio River. Particularly Kentucky, Tennessee, back there into northern Arkansas, and even into the Bootheel region of Missouri, where we could see up to 4 to 5 inches of rain in just a few days here this week. So Des Moines, Chicago, Milwaukee, all the way down to Detroit, we could get some rain. This area that's getting rain is a great area to enjoy because we have a lot of severe drought that's starting to develop across the Ohio River Valley into the middle Mississippi Valley. These rains are coming from the Bootheel area of Missouri, all the way up to the Clarksville area in northwest Tennessee. It's an extreme drought, we need rain. What we do know is that there's going to be some rain along whatever front we see in October there. And the rain could be heavy again across the Midwest. Probably into the Great Lakes and the Ohio Valley. And this is an area where we need some rain here, even after all the 4-5 inches of rain that we've seen this week. We're still going to need more rain in the Ohio Valley. What we're going to be watching is the Ohio Valley all the way up into Arkansas, with the potential for some scattered strong winds and maybe a few small hail here and there. We're going to have strong storms moving into Ohio, Louisville, Cincinnati, down south toward Clarksville, Tennessee, and then of course south into Arkansas. This is the first round of severe weather today, but we could definitely see some strong winds in Ohio. There's a chance for some strong winds around Columbus, up south toward Cleveland, northeast Kentucky. And in Ashland, Moorhead, Lexington, Kentucky, we could see some stronger storms. But once these storms cross the Ohio River there, between Ohio and West Virginia, and this is the severe weather risk, here around Lincoln, we're going to see some severe thunderstorms that could potentially drop very, very large hail into the Omaha area. Some of those same large storms could be north of Des Moines in Iowa. Mostly hail and then damaging winds will move across parts of northern Oklahoma, parts of southern Kansas, between Oklahoma City and Wichita, and then through Tulsa and Bartlesville tomorrow morning. There's a chance we could have some strong storms moving into Bentonville and Fayetteville. And really over the next 3 days, we're going to have some heavy rain from Kentucky down into Tennessee into Arkansas. I see a lot of areas that could see 4 to 7 inches of rain over the next 3 days. Specifically between Fort Smith and Memphis. And there's another hotspot that I'm seeing here on the Tennessee-Kentucky border where we could definitely see some flash flooding near the Daniel Boone National Forest. From Nashville to Lexington, Clarksville, back into Memphis, Jonesboro to Fort Smith, it's going to be rain for 2 or 3 days. Be prepared for persistent thunderstorms and the risk of flash flooding. We've actually got a series of storms from the northern plains like Minnesota all the way up into the Great Lakes and across into the southern plains. We have a low pressure system that's currently erupting over the Rocky Mountains. We expect the average wind pattern to strengthen across areas like Oklahoma, Kansas, even Arkansas and Missouri, which will help support the potential for some significant severe weather, including the potential for a few tornadoes. On Wednesday and Thursday, this storm system will expand across the Midwest and the Great Lakes. We think that localized or scattered severe weather will be likely across parts of the Ohio Valley and also back into Dixie Alley on Wednesday. And finally, as we head into Thursday, this storm system will essentially stall out over the Great Lakes before moving out as we head into Friday and Saturday. So one of the biggest things that we have to watch for over the next 4 to 5 days is that we're going to be looking for some significant rainfall. And then as we get that severe weather threat moving south and east where we have a slight risk of severe weather right now in areas including extreme northern North Texas near Sherman, Texas, all the way down into Arkansas and southeastern Oklahoma. That includes Little Rock and Rogers in Arkansas. There's also a slight threat from southern Kentucky all the way down into central Texas. Right now, we have a high risk of damaging winds, as well as large hail, especially in eastern Oklahoma and western Arkansas. And the severe weather threat will continue as we head into Wednesday from the Ohio Valley through the Gulf Coast, where there's a chance for strong winds and a few tornadoes. But if you're anywhere in Tennessee, Mississippi, Kentucky, or Louisiana, be sure to keep an eye on the weather on Wednesday for at least isolated strong storms. And finally, as we head into Thursday, this storm system will move north and east with some scattered showers and thunderstorms along the east coast. Severe weather doesn't seem likely, but there could be some damaging winds and localized hail from a few storms on Thursday. And the other thing this big storm is going to bring is a lot of rain. Here's what's going to happen between now and Friday this week. We're expecting widespread rainfall amounts of 1 to 4 inches from northern Oklahoma all the way down to the Ohio Valley and the middle Mississippi River Valley and across parts of the Northeast. There will be localized areas that will see over 5 inches of rain. One of those areas will be northwest Arkansas. We could definitely see more rain over the next few days. The same thing is happening in northern Tennessee and southern Kentucky. We could have some spots with about 4 to 7 inches of rain. Now, let's look at the tropical Atlantic. We have Hurricane Gabrielle, and this is going to be a major hurricane over the next few days. But the good news is that it's not going to make landfall. It's recurving pretty far offshore and it's expected to move towards Europe. Behind that, we have a couple of systems that could develop here. 70% chance of development. The system is there with a tropical wave in the main area of development. This storm is going to move west and northwest of the Leeward Islands over the next 3 to 5 days. A little further south and west, this actually has a chance of impacting the Bahamas and even Puerto Rico or the Dominican Republic. With a 40% chance of a tropical wave developing into a tropical depression or tropical storm. We're looking at a pressure of 998 millibars here. Some of the members start to show up there on Wednesday, September 24th. And then by the 26th, we start to see a little bit of a strengthening signal for a low-level tropical storm. Maybe a Category 1 storm there just north of the Leeward Islands. And then it could start to curve up to Bermuda, maybe intensify next week when we could expect a strong storm. So we'll be watching Bermuda very closely. The threat of high surf, heavy rains, and strong winds will of course impact Bermuda. And then the second system that moves a little bit further south. It could really become a strong system. And whether or not it impacts the Bahamas, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, the Leeward Islands, etc., we'll continue to monitor it. Now looking out into the eastern Pacific, we have Tropical Storm Narda near Mexico. You can see it weakening a little bit. But this is Tropical Storm Narda. It's going to continue to move west. Right now it's got maximum sustained winds of 80 kilometers per hour, moving west-northwest at a force 13. It looks like it's going to turn west for the rest of the week. So we're going to keep a close eye on this. The long-range tropical outlook looks favorable for the eastern Pacific to continue to be active. Let's take a look at these tropical areas. First of all, we have two disturbances that have formed here. They're expected to move mostly up the east coast. I think both of them indicate that this area is prominent in North Carolina. At least as an organized tropical system. They're predicting a much worse storm to hit these areas, and it's very likely that this will at least impact South Carolina and Virginia. Maybe even further north into the mid-Atlantic. So this storm only has a 20% chance of developing in the next 5 days. But this storm has a higher chance of moving out to sea. So it's very possible that we'll have another tropical system developing here, first of all Gabrielle, which is offshore. So it's very possible that we could see 3 tropical storm systems in the western Atlantic. Looking at our storm situation, we're again going to be focusing on increasing rainfall across this region, and also watching for a tropical disturbance to move in and hit North Carolina again. We're in Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the British and U.S. Virgin Islands, anywhere from Anguilla south to Dominica, Martinique, very heavy rains. And that's exactly what we're going to see in this area and parts of the eastern and northern Caribbean over the next couple of days. And then we'll see the potential for some developments. As this area continues to move west-northwest, the conditions are becoming favorable for some development. The next name on the list is Umberto. The US, European, Canadian models and the iconic German model have this area becoming a tropical storm somewhere near the Bahamas and heading towards the southeastern United States. However, while I expect some development, it's not certain that it's going to move directly towards the United States or the Bahamas. The models don't show how high that flood threat is. This is an area where we could see some significant flooding over the next few days. Tropical downpours, landslides, swollen rivers, 150 millimeters or 6 inches of rain. So, again, be cautious. And you can see here Haiti, Dominican Republic, and Anna, going down to St. Croix. Then we're going to be back down to Anguilla, Sabastasia, St. Kitsanas. Barbuda. Some of this rain could be just to the south and east. Temperatures are very warm. We know that in the Caribbean up to the Bahamas, the water temperatures are pretty pristine, mid to upper 80s. 30 to 31 degrees Celsius, but that's the bottom line. So if you have a system moving up there, it's going to create more warm water and it's going to act as fuel for these things. Then as we get into the weekend, and this gives you an idea of the uncertainty that I mentioned because this area is still undeveloped, it makes the final track even more uncertain. You can see anywhere, at least this first area, anywhere from the Corollas or over water all the way up to Florida and the Bahamas in terms of the potential for this area to be close. Then of course watching the Maritimes, the entire Atlantic Canada area, New England, Cape Cod, just to see where this thing goes. And then this area will also become a hurricane again. 2 hurricanes. That's what the European model shows as we go into Sunday. So we're only talking about 5 days from now. Now, I'm not sure how close it's going to get. Again, it depends on that front, right? If this front were a little slower, this potential tropical storm or hurricane could move towards Corollas or anywhere to the southeast. So some areas in the Bahamas, the southeastern United States, we may need to go into watch mode and then potentially into action mode. Right now, we're all on high alert seeing the tropics are very active. And the immediate concern is some flooding. The British and US Virgin Islands will finally be back to Puerto Rico tomorrow evening. Some rain is coming in, but you can see it pretty scattered in places where we get very, very heavy rain. That's the flood threat. Then as we get into Thursday afternoon, this area starts to lift north. We'll be looking at the Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas. And even some rain moving towards the Dominican Republic and Haiti. You can see almost some gusty winds coming in. We could get some gusty winds near the British Virgin Islands around 50 miles per hour. That could come with some strong gusts, and then we'll see this develop further Thursday, Friday into the weekend. Those are the 2 spots that we're watching, looking at some areas of scattered rain. Jamaica, Cuba, the Cayman Islands toward Cancun, Cozumel, some additional rain, and then tracking that moisture up the southern coast of Mexico through Guatemala. Some scattered additional rain over the next couple of days. You could see some moisture building up. Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada. We could see some scattered showers. The heaviest rain will be to the north. Then on Thursday, that area will see some additional rain across the northern Caribbean. And then we'll be tracking the potential for this storm to develop as it continues to intensify near the Bahamas later this week. Very rough seas east of Bermuda. But rough seas will pick up as we move back toward Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas, north of Haiti, the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. As we look at both of those areas trying to develop, even if they don't develop into rough seas and where they go, we'll see some heavy rain from there. We could be affected by some showers over the next few days. Rainfall amounts of 25 millimeters to 2.5 centimeters. We'll see that in some parts of Cuba, a little bit further east of Cuba. Jamaica, we could still have a strong thunderstorm with higher gusty winds, where we'll have totals of 100 to about 150 millimeters or 4 to 6 inches of rain with the possibility of flooding. Watch St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua, Barbuda, and still on the edge of Martinique, St. Lucia. Barbados see some possible rainfall. That could bring us over 50 millimeters of rain. Not as much. St. Vincent, Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago. We're a little drier. Cherna, Guyana, northeastern Venezuela. We'll see some scattered showers possible. We could have some scattered showers. Merida, Camp, the southern coast of Mexico, still some heavier rain. Up to 150 millimeters or 6 inches of rain, total for 3 days. By Thursday, Gil and St. Bart's will start to taper off. The chance of rain in St. Martin Sab and Stasia is increasing. We will see heavier rain in some places tonight and then finally late tomorrow night through Thursday, we are tracking across Puerto Rico. The chance of rain will increase gradually tomorrow, the British and US Virgin Islands, the Bahamas. Scattered rain in Bays. Some places are dry, others are rain. Aruba, Curacao, Bonaire. We have had a few light showers in some places over the last few days, but the chance of rain is still low overall. We will be back in Guyana. You see the chance of rain is decreasing. If you like this video, share it with your friends, family and on social media. Comment in the comment section below the video. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe to the channel to follow. Thank you for watching the news on BTB TNA channel.